When was the last time you woke up in the morning and felt truly alive as a man, strong, confident, with an erection that reminded you of your youth? For too many men over 60, that memory feels distant, almost like a warning bell they try to ignore. But here's the truth I've seen again and again in my patients. The problem isn't always age, it isn't always hormones, and it certainly isn't inevitable. Very often it comes down to something as small and ordinary as the nuts you snack on every day. I know that sounds shocking. You've been told your whole life that nuts are healthy, full of protein and good fats. And yes, some of them are. But after decades of treating men, I've witnessed the other side, the quiet damage that certain nuts cause inside your body. They inflame your arteries, raise your blood pressure, lower your testosterone, and slowly drain away the very strength that makes you feel like yourself. The good news is, once you know which nuts are silently working against you and which ones can restore your vitality, you can take back control. You don't need pills, risky procedures, or expensive supplements. What you need is clarity, and that's what I'm here to give you today. So stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I'll reveal the 4 nuts you must avoid if you want to protect your heart, your testosterone, and your erections, and the 4 powerful nuts you should eat instead. And trust me, the last one on the list is something almost no one talks about, yet it may be the most powerful ally for men over 60 that I've ever seen. Let me tell you something I've seen again and again in my clinic. A man in his 60s walks in tired, frustrated, quietly embarrassed that his erections are weaker, shorter, or sometimes completely gone. He believes it's just age, something out of his control. But when I dig into his habits, I often discover the same little culprit hiding in plain sight: peanuts. Now here's the truth. Peanuts aren't even real nuts. They're legumes more like beans than almonds or walnuts. Yet they've become America's favorite snack ball games, peanut butter sandwiches, trail mix candy bars. They feel harmless, even patriotic. But for men over 60, peanuts can be a silent enemy. Why? Because they're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. A little omega-6 is fine, but too much is like pouring gasoline on the fire of inflammation inside your blood vessels. Imagine your arteries as soft, flexible garden hoses. When they're healthy, blood flows smoothly and pressure stays balanced. But when inflammation takes over, those hoses stiffen, narrow, and crack. And what suffers first? The smallest, most delicate blood vessels in the body, the ones that fuel your erections. It gets worse. Most peanuts are roasted in cheap oils, making the inflammation even stronger, and then smothered in salt. For a man already battling high blood pressure, every handful is like cranking the pressure gauge higher and higher until the system begins to fail. Add to that the hidden threat of aflatoxins, dangerous molds found in peanuts linked to liver damage and even cancer, and suddenly this innocent snack doesn't look so friendly. I've sat across from countless men who proudly told me they were snacking healthy with peanuts, only to realize those same peanuts were raising their blood pressure, expanding their waistline, and robbing them of energy and performance. Erections are not random events. They are blood flow events. And without clean, open circulation, no pill in the world can fix the problem. So the next time you reach for peanuts, ask yourself, is this cheap, convenient snack really worth the hidden cost? Because as I'll show you in a moment, there's another nut much more elegant and beloved that carries risks just as serious, this time striking your prostate and urinary system in ways most men never expect. And that, my friends, is where things get even more surprising. I'll never forget one of my patients, a man in his late 60s who sat across from me exhausted and discouraged. He complained of stubborn belly fat, constant fatigue. and waking up multiple times each night to use the bathroom. He feared his prostate was failing, but when I reviewed his diet, the surprising truth came out every evening. Almost like a ritual, he ate a bowl of cashews, convinced they were his heart-healthy indulgence. Cashews are smooth, creamy, and delicious. They feel sophisticated, even wholesome. But beneath that sweet taste lies a hidden danger most men over 60 cannot afford to ignore. Cashews are unusually high in oxalates. These natural compounds in excess bind with calcium in the body to form kidney stones, painful, dangerous, and all too common in older men. Imagine your urinary system already strained with age and then adding a substance that makes your kidneys work overtime. It's like throwing rocks into an already clogged pipe. And that's only the beginning. Cashews also carry more carbohydrates than most nuts. That means your blood sugar spikes faster, your insulin surges higher, and over time, your cells grow resistant to insulin signal. This chain reaction doesn't just increase your risk of diabetes. It chips away at testosterone production, stealing the very hormone that fuels a man's strength, vitality, and sexual drive. Combine that with the stubborn belly fat cashews so easily promote, and you end up in a vicious cycle. More fat lowers testosterone, and lower testosterone makes it nearly impossible to lose that same fat. I've seen men trapped in this downward spiral without realizing that something as small as cashews was pushing them deeper. And when they finally cut back, the difference was striking: more energy, less bathroom trouble, even renewed intimacy with their partners. So the next time you see cashews in a glossy package or served elegantly at a party, remember what looks like a harmless treat can be a silent saboteur. And if that shocks you, wait until you hear about the next nut. It's often praised as a gourmet delight, buttery and luxurious, but inside your arteries, it can quietly choke off blood flow right where you need it most. There's a certain gentleman I remember vividly. In his early 70s, he sat across from me with a proud smile describing his nightly ritual: a small glass of wine, a handful of buttery macadamia nuts, and the satisfaction of believing he was treating himself to something healthy. But over time, he noticed changes: shortness of breath on his walks, heavier legs, and most troubling of all, erections that were weaker and slower to respond. When I reviewed his blood work, the evidence was clear. His cholesterol had crept up. His arteries had begun to stiffen, and the so-called luxury snack he trusted was quietly betraying him. Macadamias have a reputation for being gourmet, a delicacy. But inside that indulgent taste hides a major problem for men over 60. They're extremely high in saturated fats. Now, yes, our bodies need some saturated fat, but too much acts like sludge in your pipes. It clogs the smallest blood vessels first, and in men, those are the vessels that control erections. Erections aren't about desire alone. They are about circulation. When your arteries narrow, blood can't rush in quickly enough, and no matter how strong the spark, the fire struggles to burn. On top of that, macadamias are calorie bombs. Just a small handful can carry hundreds of calories, and for older men whose metabolism has slowed, those calories settle right around the midsection. Belly fat isn't just a cosmetic issue, it's metabolically active tissue that lowers testosterone and fuels inflammation. It's a double hit. Your heart strains harder, your energy sinks, and your sexual function fades. I've seen men spiral downward without realizing their daily indulgence was part of the problem. I don't tell my patients they must avoid macadamias forever. An occasional treat won't ruin you. But making them a daily habit is like building plaque in your arteries, one bite at a time. And when circulation slows, life slows with less stamina, less confidence, and less intimacy. So if macadamias surprised you, brace yourself for what's next. because the final nut on the do not eat list carries a reputation as a superfood for men. Yet, when eaten too often, it doesn't heal. It poisons, stripping away vitality from the inside out. And this one, gentlemen, may be the most dangerous of all. I once treated a man in his mid-60s who came to me completely drained. He complained of brittle nails, a strange metallic taste in his mouth, and a crushing fatigue that no amount of rest could fix. At first, these symptoms looked scattered, almost unrelated. But when I asked about his diet, the answer stopped me in my tracks. Every morning, without fail, he ate a large handful of Brazil nuts, convinced he was fueling his fertility and protecting his testosterone. What he didn't realize was that this so-called superfood routine had quietly crossed the line into poisoning his body. Brazil nuts are famous for one thing: selenium. It's a trace mineral that in the right amount plays an essential role in sperm production, thyroid balance, and antioxidant protection. One or two Brazil nuts a few times a week can absolutely be beneficial. But here's the hidden danger. Brazil nuts contain more selenium per ounce than almost any other food on earth. And too much selenium doesn't boost your health, it destroys it. When selenium levels rise too high, the body reacts harshly. Hair begins to thin and fall out. Nails weaken and crack. Fatigue deepens. Digestion falters. And yes, even erections collapse. That's because excess selenium disrupts hormone balance and strains your nervous system. For older men whose bodies already process minerals more slowly, the risk is multiplied. What a younger man might tolerate, a senior man cannot. I always remind my patients, nutrition is about balance. More is not always better. In fact, with Brazil, nuts more can be deadly. A couple of nuts once or twice a week can support vitality, but a handful every day can rob you of the very energy and strength you're trying to protect. So, while Brazil nuts deserve respect, they also demand caution. And this is where the story turns. Because while these 4 nuts, peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and excess Brazil nuts chip away at your health, there are other nuts that can do the opposite. They don't just avoid harm, they actively restore blood flow, protect testosterone, and breathe life back into your confidence. And the first one might surprise you. It's a plain everyday nut that quietly holds the power to rebuild your circulation from the inside out. After years of listening to men confess their fears about fading energy and weaker performance, I've learned to look for small, powerful changes in their daily lives. And one of the simplest, yet most transformative changes I've seen is the introduction of almonds. They may not look exotic or glamorous. In fact, most men overlook them reaching for something flashier. But almonds, humble as they seem, are one of the strongest allies a man over 60 can have. Here's why. Almonds are packed with vitamin E, magnesium, and healthy monounsaturated fats. Vitamin E works like a shield, protecting the lining of your blood vessels from oxidative damage. When those vessels stay flexible and smooth, blood can flow easily. And remember, erections are blood flow events. The healthier your circulation, the stronger your performance. Magnesium is another secret weapon. It relaxes blood vessels, lowers blood pressure, and improves blood sugar control. 3 battles many older men are quietly fighting every day. By easing that pressure, magnesium helps restore the conditions your body needs for natural, reliable erections. But almonds don't stop at blood flow. They deliver steady, clean energy without the crash. Unlike sugary snacks or heavy, salty peanuts, almonds give you fuel that lasts throughout the day. I've seen men come back after just a few weeks of adding a small handful of almonds daily, reporting lower cholesterol, a trimmer waistline, and most importantly, renewed confidence in the bedroom. It's not magic. It's simply giving your body the nutrients it craves to function the way it's designed. I often tell my patients, Every handful of almonds is like depositing money into the bank of your health. Over time, those deposits add up, paying dividends in energy, confidence, and intimacy. And while almonds are powerful, they're only the beginning. Because there's another nut one loaded with omega-3s that doesn't just support your circulation, it actively turns on the green lights inside your arteries, allowing blood to surge freely again. And when that happens, men often feel like they've stepped back in time. One of the most powerful transformations I ever witnessed came from something so simple it almost sounded unbelievable. A patient in his late 60s came to me worn down, carrying years of disappointment. He told me intimacy felt like a shadow of what it once was. His energy was flat and his waistline heavier than ever. He had tried pills, diets, even exercise routines, but nothing gave him lasting results. When I asked about the foods he ate regularly, I noticed something missing. He had never once considered walnuts. That one small detail turned out to be the turning point. Walnuts are a true powerhouse, especially for men over 60. They're loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, the exact type of healthy fats that fuel nitric oxide production in your body. Why does that matter? Because nitric oxide is the messenger that tells your blood vessels to relax and open wide. Without it, circulation slows, arteries stiffen, and erections weaken. With it, blood flows like traffic on an open highway with green lights all the way through. Erections are quite literally a blood flow event, and walnuts keep that green light shining. But circulation is just part of the story. Walnuts also help lower LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol that clogs arteries, and raise HDL cholesterol, which clears them. That means cleaner vessels, a stronger heart, and sharper brain function. In fact, research has shown that regular walnut consumption can improve sperm quality, vascular health, and overall performance. I've had men return to me months after adding walnuts to their diet with a new spark in their eyes. Their cholesterol had improved, their weight was down. And yes, their intimacy with their partners had taken on a new life. Walnuts are proof that sometimes the simplest foods hold the greatest power. They're affordable, accessible, and require no complicated routine, just consistency. A handful a day can shift your health and confidence in ways most men never expect. And if walnuts sound impressive, wait until you hear about the next nut. Because clinical studies have shown it can improve erectile function in as little as 3 weeks, acting almost like a natural prescription without the side effects. There was a man in his early 70s who sat across from me with a quiet sadness in his eyes. He admitted that intimacy had become nearly impossible, not because the love was gone, but because his body simply would not cooperate. He had tried pills, he had tried exercises, but nothing lasted. When I asked about his diet, he shrugged and said, "I don't snack much, just peanuts sometimes." That's when I told him about a nut he had completely overlooked: pistachios. Pistachios may seem like just another casual snack, something you crack open while watching TV, but beneath that little shell is a remarkable power. They are rich in arginine and amino acid that your body uses to create nitric oxide, the very molecule that signals your blood vessels to expand and allow blood to surge in. Erections live and die by circulation, and pistachios supply the raw material your body needs to keep that circulation strong. But here's what excites me as a physician. This isn't just theory. Clinical studies have proven it. In one study, men who ate pistachios daily for 3 weeks reported significant improvements in firmness, satisfaction, and overall performance. Think about that, a natural food producing measurable changes in such a short time. For men who believe their best years are behind them, pistachios can feel like a second chance. And they don't just benefit your bedroom. Pistachios also help lower LDL cholesterol, raise HDL cholesterol, reduce blood pressure, and calm inflammation, all of which protect the same delicate blood vessels that fuel stamina, energy, and life itself. I've had patients return to me, sometimes with tears in their eyes, saying, "Doctor, I didn't just get my erections back, I got my marriage back." That's the kind of impact this little nut can have. And while pistachios are powerful, there's still one more nut that deserves attention. It doesn't have the fame of almonds or walnuts, but it's rich in antioxidants and hormone-supporting nutrients that can quietly restore energy, circulation, and confidence. Let me introduce you to hazelnuts, the unsung hero most men have never considered. Not long ago, a man in his mid-60s sat across from me and sighed, almost defeated. "Doctor," he said, "I exercise, I eat what I think is healthy, but I still feel invisible. My energy is low, my focus is dull, and intimacy just isn't the same." His frustration was real. He was doing so many things right, but missing one simple food that could help shift everything: hazelnuts. Hazelnuts don't have the fame of almonds or the reputation of walnuts. They're often tucked away in the baking aisle or hidden in chocolates at the holidays. Few men think of them as a daily tool for strength, but inside these small round nuts is a treasure chest of nutrients perfectly suited for men over 60. They're rich in vitamin E, one of the body's most powerful antioxidants, protecting the lining of blood vessels and keeping them elastic. Elastic arteries mean freer blood flow, and as I've said many times, erections are blood flow events. But that's not all. Hazelnuts also calm inflammation, the silent saboteur of both circulation and hormone balance. Inflammation stiffens arteries, lowers testosterone, and saps energy. By quieting that internal fire, hazelnuts create an environment where hormones can do their job properly. The result? More vitality, sharper focus, steadier confidence. Unlike cashews, which spike blood sugar, or peanuts, which inflame your system, hazelnuts release energy slowly and steadily, fueling you throughout the day without the crash. Patients who add hazelnuts to their daily diet often tell me within weeks they feel lighter, more alert, even more youthful in their everyday activities. Their cholesterol improves, their heart feels stronger, and their sense of possibility returns. I call hazelnuts the quiet ally, not flashy, not loud, but consistent and reliable in rebuilding what age tries to take away. And when you combine hazelnuts with almonds, walnuts, and pistachios, you create a powerful team. Together, they protect your heart, fuel your testosterone, and restore the strength and confidence you thought were slipping away. But now that you know which nuts to avoid and which ones to embrace, let's pull everything together, because the choices you make today can determine not just your health, but the legacy you leave behind. Gentlemen, let's bring it all together. Over the years, I've sat with countless men who thought fading energy, weaker erections, and slipping confidence were simply the price of getting older. But what we've seen today is clear. It's not just about age, it's about choices: peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and too many Brazil nuts. These are the foods that inflame your vessels, raise your blood pressure, and quietly drain your vitality. Yet just as easily, almonds, walnuts, pistachios, and hazelnuts can breathe life back into your circulation, your hormones, and your spirit. My message to you is this: you are not powerless. Even after 60, you can protect your heart, restore your testosterone, and reclaim your strength simply by making small, consistent choices. And those choices add up not only to better health, but to stronger relationships, deeper confidence, and a life that feels full again. So here's my advice. Be mindful of the snacks you trust. Choose the nuts that serve you, not the ones that silently sabotage you. Listen to your body, because every signal it gives is a chance to change course before it's too late. And if you found value in what we shared today, I encourage you to save this video because you may want to come back to it later. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the latest medical insights I share to help you protect your health as a man. And I'd love to hear from you. What nut do you snack on most often? Drop your answer in the comments below because your story might help another man just like you. Remember, age is not the end of vitality. It can be the beginning of a stronger, wiser chapter, and I'll be here to guide you every step of the way.